Okay, well, Navi certainly like playing the IO gyro. Trent, you were slamming that gyro earlier. You had very harsh words a couple of hours ago about a gyro. Why do you think they're picking it up here? What did they like about it?
It's okay. They have Io. It's different. You know, this isn't just your lonely gyro. This is his little buddy Io. So it's okay. You know,
You
it's
only
like
really
he's the Hemi you slap in your engine.
the Nitros.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Nitrous. With Gyro definitely can work, and you can get yourself some of those stacks. You can play around that combo. You have the global presence now with the Relocate and the Dawnbreaker. It's pretty damn solid, I would say. But outsiders hit them with the Viper. This is also a hero that's first phase pick core ban material in CN. They pick it with the Clockwork, so the offlane should be solid, right? You are still playing into an IO Gyro, and one problem for a Viper is he wants to bully you out of the lane, spam that poison all the time, and now you're playing versus an IO and Gyro, which together will have a ton of healing, so perhaps he will not be necessarily as successful as he usually wishes to be.
Could they be picking this on the 4 and playing Clockwork 3 here? Because a lot of people are playing Viper 4 at the moment.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen it a fair amount. Yeah,
I've seen a couple of 5 games, but I haven't seen a 4 Viper. Okay. I mean, I'm not watching every. Yeah, I'm not watching.
No,
every
I don't think so. I think that's just you, Dan.
Right.
You're
I think
on some
maybe I've seen
special
it
dog.
once and I've extrapolated all the time.
Yeah. Even this lizard knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ain't digging you out of this one, Dan. Explain me, what is this 4 Viper all about? What does he do?
You play it, you chuck down poison at people. You know, it's pretty good. I think someone played it in a pub with me once. Maybe that's what I'm thinking about.
No, he can be a decent support sometimes in the lane, and he brings that break later on with Nether Toxin, right? So it's solid. But from outsiders, I don't like this draft one bit so far. It can definitely work. They can with the clock with the puck, they have a lot of that gameplay potential in the mid game. But
it's a Ramses draft now, right? It's a all right, Ramses. So here's all your tools. What are you gonna use to completely carry us through this game? What's your big dog hero? I feel like Jug was a really solid ban. I think that would have fit fairly well. And now I'm just looking like Anti-Mage, you know, Phantom Lancer, some like gross hero that I feel like you just need to give Ramses all the space and he's gonna do his thing.
Do you have the heroes to facilitate that space, though? Is this a space-making draft?
it is.
Oh yeah, they got space. They're creating whole universes here. It's like he came out of retirement with his lineup, just space everywhere.
That's like exactly what I meant. They can do a lot. These 4 heroes, they can pressure you a lot, but the scaling perhaps is a bit awkward. And if you do miss your timings in the early to mid game, it can get a bit rough, especially with this Viper. Like if your lane doesn't go too well, sometimes you feel just like a creep. It's the same 4-5 offlane. It feels the same if he doesn't get that early farm. When it comes to the last pick of Navi, what do they need? They need their emitter. Is this an option for a DK or something like that versus the puck?
They could tiny mid as well, right? Like that's been a pretty common counter pick because you like kind of crush puck in the lane with all your damage. You can't really die. But the question is, what support is worth it? And they say it's Ench. I was trying to think like what can you use as support to really bully down a single carry? Because like it's very likely Ramsey is going to be some huge hard carry right now.
You know what you could actually do here? Like you could put, like you said, Tiny will be mid, 99% at least. I agree. I think you should put Enchantress plus Gyro safe lane, and then Io plus Dawnbreaker on the offlane to deal with the Terrorblade.
Yeah.
And do you like the TB? I think it's solid.
I think it was the obvious pick. It was like the Ramses classic. It's the big gun hero. I don't know. It's not as bold as I was expecting. I kind of thought they'd go somewhere a little bit further, like an Anti-Mage or something kind of crazy, but it doesn't look like a great game, so I get it. But I'm a little torn. I feel like no one might pop off this game.
Do you agree, Lizard?
No, he definitely needs to, I would say. I wouldn't say that he could. He needs to. If he doesn't pop off, I feel like TB eventually just wins this game. think that it's a really solid TB game. You are playing versus IO plus Gyro, but I don't value that combo as much as I used to. I don't feel that it's as broken, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. I do think that all things considered, seeing both of these drafts, outsiders, I'm leaning in their favor a little bit.
Are we expecting then that this is going to be either not a 20-minute win for Navi, but a 20-minute, it's pretty obvious they're going to be winning, or outsiders win this? Or do we think there's anything that Navi can do to pull this kind of into a longer game?
I mean, most likely, it'll be kind of decided at that point based on like how much pressure they get on the dire safe lane and how much they can take over Ramsey's jungle. That's probably going to be the deciding factor. But there's also weird shenanigans like IO and Gyro and like global relocates and forcing towers that maybe if it's even or they're a little behind, they could pull something out. But you'd rather be ahead early.
Right. Well, talking about getting ahead early, we're going to get ahead early with our wonderful casters. It's Avo and SeekNStrike. Avo, you're muted.
Alvaro is muted, and there he is. He's shaking because you know what? He just said the smartest thing ever. He's like a slippery little guy as he slithers out of that chair.
Oh, wow.
And we're gonna slide right into game number 1, aren't we, Alvaro?
Yes, we are. Like a snake we go. You know, Viper's a snake. That's the thing. Anyway, sorry about that. Thank you, Richie. I was commenting to the audience
No
as
time.
they're killing
Hakoda's dying.
Hakoda. Nightmare. We'll save him from the missile, but not gonna save him from Blaze. So that's gonna be a good first blood for Navi. I was telling our audience as I was speaking privately to them and not to you, Richie, that it does feel like the panel was really on point with these drafts are meant to do. The whole idea of like outsiders is just Ramses carry us, please, right? And in the case of Navi, it's IO Gyro or bust. I'm with Lizard on this one. I do think IO Gyro is a little bit overrated even these days. I do like the outsiders draft a little bit more as a result. I think Terrible is just great. Yeah.
Even with solo Enchantress, you still think TB is as strong?
Yeah, I think it's fine. Like, I mean, I will say that both teams, I would say that Navi has more useful team besides that, but I was expecting some sort of combo with them. I guess you have like Avatos with Dawnbreaker joining in, which is somewhat of a combo.
Yeah, no, I think this combo is great, actually. I strongly prefer this Navi lineup.
For sure.
I think this kind of global kind of mobility that they have is kind of unparalleled. I really see a world in which outsiders struggle, especially with their, let's be honest, kind of lack in burst damage outside of GPK. You know, Viper a little bit more ramping up the damage. Same thing for Bane, right? He enables these kind of kills. And TB, when he's 6-slotted, sure, whatever, he's got burst. But before then, right, when TB's still farming up his items, I never see really how Navi end up getting picked off here without a DB, a Dawnbreaker ulting in, or without the Wisp relocating someone in or relocating someone out. And this combo is incredibly deadly when you have something like a tiny mid that wants to be jumping in, that wants to be doing the Avatos combo for the Solar Guardian follow-up, for Wisp to bring in the Gyrocopter who's been farming away at the jungle and can finally hit some heroes. Like, I really, really enjoy this lineup from Navi, and I think they're a team that are just, you know, they're cut from a very fine cloth, and I think they can certainly execute on this very difficult strategy and lineup, to be honest. It's not easy to execute whatsoever.
I don't think it's a strategy. I mean, yeah, I can see what you mean. Like, there's a precise timing for it. Yeah. And you have to play the map really well, because obviously your goal potential is definitely the strength of this lineup. But when I compare two lineups, and one is, like you said, 4 random heroes and TB, and these heroes just do create space no matter what. And the other one is, okay, some team fight. It isn't the degree I would expect from, like, oh, wow, what a synergy, right? Conceptually, the heroes are similar, so they have that kind of synergy, and they want to play the map in a similar way. And that's strong. But I do find that TB could carry this. We'll see.
That's promising sign for Navi is they just get a kill onto DM down bottom.
Yeah, okay, that was interesting. Yamich cut the lane like that, and then DM just kind of decided to still fight the creeps.
Yeah,
maybe he underestimated the gyro damage.
Yeah, gyro damage, especially backed up by the Wisp. Like, even with poison attack level 1, right, you really want that second point where your damage quite literally doubles for the same amount of mana. So, yeah, just a little bit of miscalculation there. It's not first blood, but it is going to be a little bit more farm here for this Gyrocopter, to be certain. Who is going Maelstrom first, seemingly?
It's huge though. It's huge because outsiders depend on lanes, right? Like they kind of have to get a good laning stage. I mean, obviously Bane can fiend script and get kills afterwards with Puck. It's not lost. But when you pick a Viper off lane, the goal is not to lose that lane. I feel like Gyrocopter really did disturb that pick a fair amount, and you do have a Navi squad that can also do the same kind of pickoffs, and also has their own laning heroes. So this is what I'm scared about. I think the early game can definitely be a stomp for Navi, especially if they utilize the global potential well of the Dawnbreaker, and that's what outsiders needs to deal with. Secure that space for TB that they drafted for.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and just one thing, right? Like, yes, we know it's Io Gyro and, Io Tiny. They kind of broke up, and now Io Gyro is their new best friend. But I would still say that there's a point at this game where I think probably SwedenStrong wants to be reloading Tiny into these fights and maybe just leaving the Gyro back. Yeah, and that's actually another really strong selling point to me of this Navi lineup.
Ramsey's
the Wisp has multiple partners.
Well done in the top lane. Good use of the Nightmare there so Laze could get the last hit, and then they can still hook Hakoda. Sorry. As the Starbreaker was available by Hakoda, maybe a little bit too fast, they weren't really committing to it.
There's plenty of damage there out from the illusion, or just the Ench just tossing in these spears. They're not even the impetus yet. It's just like the physical harass damage with a simple Blightstone starting to add up. That's now a death in 2 lanes. Hakoda's gonna get off the Nightmare. That should see him safely away from the top lane. But things not looking so good so far. Still plenty of time to turn them around, of course, especially with a mid laner like a Puck, who is going to be enabled a bit sooner to rotate away than something like a Tiny.
I do think this is the one lane that you can lose if you're outsiders. Like, Ramses will just be able to recover jungle. It's not that big a deal. I think the crucial lanes are definitely the Viper. He has to win that. And like you said, the Puck, more than his lane going well or not, it's about the rotations he can make, like you said. He has to be able to play the tempo game against his Tiny effectively. If no one pops off, it'll be tough for outsiders to make it back.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, because no one's got a lot of great targets first. Deleting a Bane. Like, Bane is a super high impact support at almost every single stage of the game, right? So even, like, compared to something like, I don't know, like an Ench super late in the game, like, Bane going through Fiend's Grip, like, that's a massive kill. And Tiny easily has that basically, I don't know, maybe from Blink Dagger till the end of the game, he can solo kill Bane. And that's, like, such a huge advantage, right? Let alone if he can, like, get the jump onto, I don't know, Clock, a Puck, like, it's really, really dangerous here if this Tiny can get out of control. Lizard was saying how he thinks that's a little bit of a necessity for Navi to find success, and I generally agree with that as well.
Ramses? Okay, that was close. They're not over-committing because the lack of mana and Dawnbreaker. A lot of these kills are missed with the lack of mana. Instead, it's bottom where they get the kill. And they lose SwedenStrong, which means Vatoon is now only a Gyrocopter, and this hero does suck, so... and he did try to kill it.
This hero does suck, but he is level 4 compared to level 3, so this tiny little bit of a level advantage, right, does help out a little bit. He's got the boots already, so, he's not in too uncomfortable position. Much unlike Ramses, who is currently getting harassed behind his tier 1 tower, Hakoda is going to find himself the victim of a Starbreaker here. Solo, in the meantime, is simply going to walk away from his old teammates there, as even though the buffs to meta were good, they're not strong enough there for the kill, and DM is dying bottom.
Look at that! Gyro became a hero all of a sudden. It was like the Io just helped him out there. And Vatoon now running away from the Clockwork. Get close to the creeps, Vatoon. Get close to him. Okay, now close to the Io. There we go. We solved the battery assault problem.
Okay, not bad. That was an overcharge level 2, and now tether level 2, which, by the way, you can finally level up. Thank you so much, Jeff Hill and the team at Valve. You can finally level up tether when you're tethered, which is huge in the laning stage.
Huge buff.
Because this thing costs 40 mana every single time to recast, which does add up a bit in the lane. It's a little painful, especially also, now if you want to, like, take some points in spirits, which I think might be viable this game. Although not seemingly for SwedenStrong, who's 202 so far. It's a good buff.
Yep. SwedenStrong. He's stuck to an awkward coil. He wants to the high ground. That's the plan. He can tether to a creep now, but there's nothing to tether to. So SwedenStrong will die. I was gonna mention it's the cooldown as well, so you can make these kind of plays and like tether out. But unfortunately, there was nothing he could tether to save him. But that definitely would have mattered because we would have had to recast the tether and everything. Jeff Hill, what a wonderful person.
What a wonderful person. Big Jeff Hill fan. But that's at least some pressure being relieved in this bottom lane, right? A second death now on the Wisp, even though you haven't yet found the big guy in this bottom lane, which is Vitoon. He's rocking the Javelin already. Some pretty good damage to tear through this armor. Maelstrom up very scarily soon. And then, I don't know. And this, Viper, not necessarily a hero that can just push the tower while ignoring the carry. He does kind of rely on booting out the enemy core to be able to push a tower. And, backed by a Wisp, I think Gyro's only going to end up leaving this bottom lane if there's, like, plenty of ganks and support, or whenever he wants to go to the jungle. Top.
Avo toss. There's no one's first rotation. No need for the blink. And he actually rotated earlier than GP. Well, actually, I'm not sorry. GPK got the IO kill earlier. So it's kind of even for now.
Yep.
Witchblade. Oh no, sorry, it's boots. It's treads first for GPK. So we're still gonna be a while until both heroes are good enough to get solo kills. No one just trying to rush that blink dagger. I don't see any stacks for no one though to speed that up.
Yeah, no big stacks either for outsiders. Who already send Ramses away into the triangle. They'll tuck him away there safely because Lays and now both solo are kind of starting to take over a little bit of this outsiders map. This is again one of the buffs that Ench gives to your team, is she can kind of ruin the enemy jungle a little bit here, as Hakoda's finding out, taking a fair amount of harass.
And they take the tower up top, which means now Dawnbreaker's free to rotate. So Vatoon was trying to push away the Clockwork from his jungle. As you said, Solo is just dealing with Hakoda. This does make it scary, though. Outsiders doesn't know where to play, because Gyro is a hard hero to kill early, especially with a Dawnbreaker present, especially with the Aya always with him. So it's not really a place to gank or to play, except for the triangle, which is where Ramses is right now.
Yep. Yeah, and it's this kind of like economic chokehold that I'm starting to see a lot of teams really execute very well on.
Especially in this region.
Yeah, it's starting to change a little bit now with Yamich kind of making a bit of an aggressive rotation in. But for the most part, if we had like the heat map stuff, like you would see Navi farming about 3/4 of the map compared to outsiders who, yeah, they've got the mid and bottom lane and also the triangle, but top is like none of that is theirs right now.
Yep, exactly. They don't have any vision hero. Well, I guess Enchantress you can consider, but if you had like a Beastmaster, for example, it'd be easier to do this. So there's plays the outsiders can make, especially with aggressive warding, but they just need to find the option. I think Viper is the hero they play around here, which is why DM's bad laning stage, not to his fault, just really well played by Navi, is setting outsiders aback, and they don't have the options they were hoping for when they drafted this hero.
Not quite yet, anyway. No one in the meantime, is going to be even more bad news bears because he is chugging along very nicely for his first item, which is going to be the Blink Dagger after the treads. Needs probably about 2 more waves and a couple of camps, and he's right there. Expect probably a smoke gank at some stage, and you're looking for a big ticket kill at that time of the game, right? Maybe a Puck, TB, maybe Vipers is a good one as well.
Hakoda is kind of solo, being killed by Solo. As they send the Clockwork back, there's a little toss back. Yamich is the target. The illusions are kind of body blocking Yamich there. I think those are his illusions though, but he'll get away. Yeah, they are his illusions.
And I'm kind of curious what this offline Dawnbreaker build is going to be. Of all the positions that I've personally casted in and seen Dawnbreaker games in, I've yet to see her in the offlane once. I've seen her a lot core. They like her a lot core in NA. I've seen her mid lane a couple of times, even just last series, right? But eager to see her, what the differences are and how Lays decides to play it.
I mean, I think offlane is just a slower mid, honestly, the way I've seen her play at least. You can't go for the carry items like we saw Desolator last game. I think that's a little bit ridiculous, but I also don't think that's common in mid Dawnbreaker. But it's just the idea that you play around being able to gank. Sometimes we see like Echo or Armlet or some sort of like early-ish item to increase that. But if not, you just go for either the Shard Blink build or the Ag's Holy Locket build, which are still pretty popular. Shard Blink is more popular in the core position though. I do think that's just really strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could certainly see that, and I think the important part to remember about this hero, of course, is that the playstyle doesn't really change no matter what position she's in, right? You send her to farm some somewhat dangerous farm on the other side of the map. Yeah, you play around as 4 at the other side, and then when you need her, she ults in and does her thing. But that's not going to change really no matter what lane she's in.
She's going for Dezo though, which I've again only seen this build in Eastern Europe. I don't know if it's become the build here. But both, like you talk about, when you see her mid in NA or SA or even carry there, Dezo is not very common. Usually go from bigger tempo items. I am interested. I see that being strong, especially like you combine with the Orbital Corrosion and the Starbreaker. Plus, of course, the buffs to Luminosity make it a much more desirable crit. But it's still interesting that you'd see this. Usually in other regions, the whole idea is Shard makes you magic immune, and because you can blink on the last hit of the Shard, you get a guaranteed stun. All of a sudden, you're actually Initiator, so it's pretty great in that sense. But here they're trying to take advantage of the crit instead. Will provide a fair amount of healing to the team, though, which is not a joke.
Yeah, and I mean, it synergizes pretty well, right, with the flat cannon of Gyrocopter.
Yeah,
you
true,
can
actually.
apply that on multiple heroes, because you do apply your debuffs. You'll apply, in this case, Orb and eventually Deso on all the heroes.
Tiny Cleave, too?
Yeah, Tiny Cleave, yeah, no, lots of physical damage to be certain. Yeah, Tiny Cleave.
I mean, and you talked about the multiple partners. This could be an IO partner as well, if you play it like this. I am just interested, though, because this does reduce the tempo for Dawnbreaker, so instead of playing the 15-minute hero, I guess you scale a little bit better.
They're just going to make the jump here, but yeah, there's no one immediately keen to cancel that, and even the reload coming in. Get out of here, boys! Oh, no! And that's the kind of global mobility I expected to see, unfortunately. It's going to be Hakoda who figures that one out here as he attempts the first Fiends group of the game.
This is one thing, by the way. I don't know if the panel touched upon this, but both supports and outsiders are very much nullified by the Dawnbreaker. They're solo kill supports that go well with like +1. Viper joins them, Puck joins them, and they pretty much kill anyone on the map. And Dawnbreaker completely cancels his initiation with the healing and then joining the stun. It makes it really difficult for them to play this 4 Protect 1 they're running. And because there's not much synergy in team fights, it makes their 5-on-5 look pretty lackluster compared to Navi's, which, while there isn't the greatest synergy, is much more than Viper, Spit, Poison, Clockwork, Traps you, and Calls.
Yeah, no, that was very painful for outsiders because, I mean, that was just about the worst possible place for that to happen as well, because Navi just have them 3 cores sieging your tier 1 tower, and you have 1 hero there, which is just a Puck to try and defend. Hakoda, though, this time, the smoke is going to find Solo. Blaze is going to, simply going to Celestial Hammer away, and this will be a solo kill on a Solo.
Yeah. So this is how I've seen a lot of teams try to play Dawnbreaker, by the way, especially in Eastern Europe, where I think they excel on this hero, is that when the ultimate is up, right, or in this case, I guess Relocate can also fulfill that role, you farm pretty aggressively in your cores, you don't need the supports to tank smoke necessarily, you can go for more dangerous farm. And then once the ultimates are down, the supports should put themselves in position to tank those smokes and make sure your cores are protected. And we can see this from Navi, right? When they actually smoke after the Solar Guardian, Enchantress is the one to die.
Oh, they messed up the Fortify. Not too big of a deal here because no one still finds the blink. There's no hook shot, by the way. It missed earlier onto Lays. So Eden Strong does relo in Vatoon here as Hakoda, without his ulti, can't really offer much. Yamish is going to at least erect the cogs and attempt to get out of this one. Relo is going to bring back both the Gyro and the IO, but it's GPK in trouble as no one voluntarily snaps the coil. There's going to be the Solar Guardian because they are fighting top lane as well, where they have dispatch of the Gyrocopter here, and even the Nightmare for Lays, but Ramses needs to get out of town. He's a bit low on the HP.
Yeah, the Starbreaker at least will kill Hakoda, but I don't think they can deal with Ramses. They're still a little bit afraid of the Sunder. He was just barely out of mana, so I don't think they could have killed him in time. The choice of reloading back with a Gyro was interesting. I guess the plan was always the Solar Guardian in, but Lays was a little bit late on the Solar Guardian, and Gyrocopter got destroyed a bit too quickly. Yeah, that bonus damage on meta now that it's maxed is certainly no joke. Ramsey's pumping in 1400 there extremely quickly through a Wisp heal, which is not too crazy yet without a mechanism, but still, it's maxed overcharge, so that does add up. Yeah, no, I mean, the Dawnbreaker is scary, dude. Like, they're playing around her as the win condition right now. And Desolator, once it comes up, it's going to make a huge difference. You're not going to kill TV, or that's not your goal as Dawnbreaker, but especially for the Viper and the Puck, even to some degree, if he gets caught with a stun. It gets caught with a stun.
Yeah, and Ramses is actually deviating into a slightly earlier than normal Scotty.
I love this.
It's not super crazy. He's definitely a hero that can do it, and it's in his wheelhouse, but plenty of healing that needs to be negated here. I think Ramsey's kind of sensing he can't afford to go for like a Scotty into a BKB and then, or sorry, a Manta into Scotty, Manta into BKB and then Scotty. Like it needs to come online soon.
Yes, exactly. He's the hero, right? Like, he can't rely on his teammates to do other things. He just has to do everything himself. This is really that kind of game.
Solo being a bit cheeky there with his Acorn as he toggles on over the Nightmare and eventually will get the D ward. It's going to be pretty crucial.
Yeah, he
Look
lost
at
his
this
own
vision
ward.
Navi have in the jungle of Outsiders. They got all 3 cliffs warded. Or had.
Remember we
right?
talked about earlier how there's no Hawks and it could be a problem because can't get vision? They were like, what if we just use wards all over this jungle and make it our own? It's a good use of the Ench, honestly. It's really difficult to beat her, as we just saw here at the warding game.
Look how effective this Warpine Raider is at tanking plenty of armor on this guy. And, well, eventually they'll get through here. There's the Deso completed as well for Lays. And plenty of minus armor here to assist with first Roche.
Satanic gonna be soon completed on Platoon. Maybe, oh, actually, maybe he also saw Satanic. He saw the Claymore, and that was also what conditioned him into going for Scotty on top of that.
Yeah, that could be.
Because that does make this item value, like, skyrocket, right? Obviously with Satanic. I do still think it's a good choice regardless, though, mind you. I like that Ramses is doing it.
Yeah, I agree. You got to counter the Morbid Mask. That's what it really is.
yeah, the Morbid Mask plus IO plus Dawnbreaker plus Enchantress. Oh my god, this lineup is hell.
It's Morbid.
Honestly, I would have minded if we saw a Vessel on like Viper, for example. I know this build is a bit older, but that wouldn't have been too bad either.
Yeah, that's true.
I just don't
but
see
like,
the Viper doing anything.
His lane was so, like, his start was so bad. I mean, like, this poor Clockwork, Yamich has had his urn long enough to farm up about a third of Ag Scepter, sorry, of BKB that is, and he still doesn't have any urn charges in here. He just hasn't had the opportunity. Viper would have been even worse off.
That's a good point, right? You can't buy Spirit Vessel because you can't get kills, or you can't start off the Spirit Vessel train. That's a very good point. I didn't consider that. Yeah, I mean, Clock being the Vessel buyer is okay. I guess he farms faster now, especially as a 4. He's more reliable at doing that, I suppose. Yeah. He can't even buy BKB though. He's like, I'm just gonna get Sanj. That'll do.
Ah, that's pain.
Heaven's Halberd though is good against Gyro.
Heaven's Halberd is very strong, yeah. It is really good. Maybe even against an Ench if you need to, right? We've seen Enches starting to pile up their damage, and it seems like there's maybe, yeah, that is actually the full Lance here. Yeah, that's wild.
They're playing her as a 4 as well, so you're gonna see some more damage, like you said. Hookshot from Yamich. He's safe for now.
None of this.
Ramses, do not. Oh, he's actually gonna farm the Ancient Cap. The courage on this man.
Yeah, no, it's okay. He says supports, and he snaps his fingers and pings the mid lane. He says, tank the gank.
I need someone to die for me, please.
What do you mean, please? That word is not in a, in a core player's dictionary. Absolutely not. More like
the real
now.
words the core players say I can't say on the stream, right? So that's why.
That's very true. It's because it's Russian. You don't speak Russian.
Exactly. Hakoda has been found out.
Very easy there. I mean, that's honestly worth the Bane's life. You got to get vision back established in your jungle.
No, I agree. And also relocate. No one feels kind of insulted. This team didn't trust him to solo kill the Bane. They relocated in.
Maybe there was more heroes coming. You never know, right?
No, for sure. I don't think that was an actual slight to no one. Can you imagine? No one, you're too weak to get the proper Avatar's combo out.
This could be dangerous here. Outsiders, they're going to need to get a good read on the map. They have no intel on what's in their jungle, nor what's in their own triangle. They only see the Dawnbreaker farming down bottom. There's a TP to the tier 1 tower, and Solo here nearby. Hakoda does have Fiend Script, but Outsiders, yeah, okay, they're going to TP away their cores, so they're not interested in fighting anything that's to come. And probably the better move here is Navi have got the numbers. GPK does cut one more way, but of course this is a tier 1 tower. They don't come with backdoor protection, and that'll be very quickly cleared here.
Yep. The question, of course, is how much does this tier 1 matter? I guess you could supposedly take over the triangle a little bit easier, but as long as the tier 2 is still up, I don't think it's that big a deal.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd agree with that. And in the meantime, it has bought Outsiders time for a couple of crucial items. DM has disassembled his Dragonlance for the full BKB, as maybe they're going to look to fight around this.
Okay, Avatos, the damage is not good enough. Does he have a blink or something? Oh, they actually caught him on the last hit of the Starbreaker. That's super difficult to do.
Yeah, looks like they did, I want to say.
Right?
It was weird, right? Because I think Puck still got off a Waning Rift, and in the death summary, I didn't see the stun being applied, but maybe it's just a new hero thing. But either
I thought
way,
I saw the animation.
Yeah, so did I, but Puck definitely got off a Waning Rift.
Oh, yeah.
Weird. Yeah, no, I don't know. Either way, I mean, the kill's a kill, right? Navi aren't going to be complaining about it too much, especially if they can make this a +1 here. Onto Ramses, they need to keep him stunned up, and they have the control. Is perfect. Nightmare or not. Now it's going to be a nightmare for Hakoda as he's dove underneath his tier 2 tower by 4 heroes, 2 of which are going to immediately teleport away. Oof.
Yeah. No one is popping off. I think we can safely say no one is popping off. His role here is not to farm like crazy. He can leave the 2 cores in his team to do that. He's just there to create space, and because of the combo with Dawnbreaker now, it becomes very easy to kill Terrorblade.
Yeah.
And look, a Viper doing nothing, unable to really help out this push.
That's such as the way of Viper. It's lose game. I mean, like win lane, lose game, and also lose lane, extra lose game. Like, I mean, my goodness,
right.
this poor Pickle it finds himself being in one quite frequently.
Yeah, it should have been a 5. I do think that was the choice for Outsiders. And you should have flexed into a stronger offlaner, putting all your eggs in the one basket. I did think Terrorblade would be able to carry this, but frankly, I didn't think the lane would go that badly. And the supports being nullified makes it so that Outsiders, their only play right now that they really have is cutting lanes with Puck, or I guess Quack can do that too. And that's it.
Yeah.
Getting ganks is too difficult. As long as Relocate or what's it called, Solar Guardian is up, getting gank is impossible.
Yeah, that's very true, right? I think we saw that with the very first usage of the grip. The second one was fantastic, right? Because that was on the relocate back, where Navi did end up taking a fight pretty far away from their base, so they had a pretty easy kill there onto Vtune. But everything else here has looked very one-sided here as Navi kick off another fight.
Okay, they did get a kill on Dawnbreaker first. That's a way to oh no, they didn't actually. Sunder is not going to help the DB enough. Satanic just healed him back to full. DM at least trying to kill off the IO, but the damage is not enough. SeekNStrike still has a magic wand and a cloak to help him out, so he's going to be fine. Relocating away as Lace finishes off Yamich solo. GPK gets caught by no one. I think this is GG.
I mean, it has to be. I mean, this is not getting any better anytime soon. Navi, yeah, I mean, Navi have just absolutely stolen the show here in game number 1. They're even going to heal up. That's a great usage, actually, of Solar Guardian. It lays TP's home, and then Solar Guardian's in to heal the team and continue pushing faster, which is significant because he has the Deso. So this is going to turn all of a sudden from easily 1 lane of Rax to easily 2 lane of Rax here off the back of that play. Lays even, he, with the Shard, manages to turn around and fight Yamich.
Yeah,
that entire time as he's getting ran down and completely just, I mean, what a play. Well done to Navi. I thought maybe there was a chance there after the Sunder comes through, but Ramsey's just completely melted immediately after that.
Me too. I thought the Scotty would at least affect the Satanic a little bit, but it didn't matter, right?
No.
It just, Vtune just healed like crazy. And you're right, I feel like the Dawnbreaker, how it's played right now, especially in the offlane role, it's just like a melee Necrophos. You're like, oh, I got him, he's almost dead. You got baited into a 5-man wipe.
Yeah, I agree, right? A little bit more useful in the Necro, like a kind of a support Necro. It's just really weird amalgamation of heroes.
Better
but
hero.
I get where you're coming from. Oh, they're just going to jump Ramses again. Nightmare save is there in time, but no chance for a Sunder. I mean, poor Ramses. He can't even farm inside of his own base.
Yeah, that's the win condition gone. I mean, like literally. I guess, look, it's just Puck cutting lanes, so GPK still has that option.
Yeah, I mean,
well, he's not really. He's in the jungle.
He's got 2 bounties. That's huge. Big gold injection.
I feel like he should have been cutting these lanes as opposed to being in the jungle. I can see why he's getting farmed, but now Navi can take the last tier 2 and therefore the Rax.
Yeah. I mean, it's I don't.
Nothing is stopping him.
Not much to say. I mean, certainly not Viper is going to stand in his way, right? Like, if Navi come up to high ground.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I mean, even split pushing is kind of a dangerous engagement for Puck, right? Because there could be a Relo into some trees and then a Dawnbreaker to follow up. Right? It's fairly easy for you to avoid these, relatively so, on a Puck. You know, if I had to choose a mid lane hero to cut waves and avoid being hunted down, it would probably be a Puck, right?
But Dawnbreaker's really good though at doing that.
Dawnbreaker is really good.
You can blink on the Starbreaker's last hit, and that's an instant stun if you pop.
But I think you have to blink in the direction that you started Starbreaker in, right?
No, because that's with the shard. The shard allows you to blink, and so the shard gives you free movement, so it doesn't matter anymore. Just like blink on the hero.
Right. Okay.
We get the Solar Guardian here used. That's gonna be enough healing for Jarakat to be kept alive. Ramses is dead. We kind of saw that a little bit there, but it didn't really matter. Ramses was destroyed. GPK will join them. DM will spit, as the GG is called. Spit. I spit on you, but it's not gonna make you leave. No. What a destruction by Navi, honestly.
I mean, yeah, masterclass. I mean, it's kind of exactly what I thought this draft was going to be, and the kind of crappy part for outsiders is that I don't really think they misplayed too much in this game. They just, like, their draft played perfectly into what Navi did, like, wants to do with their lineup, right? We want you to try and engage somewhat slowly on one of our cores, and then we're going to use our global mobility to just kind of beat your butt. And that's kind of what happened here.
Yeah, you're right. I feel like, again, I'm harping on this, but it's just the only thing I really think that lost in the game was the Viper lane. Like, if you win that lane, I think the game has a completely different color. But losing that lane means you don't have essentially another core. So the whole idea of a 4 protect 1 lineup in this kind of scenario is I have 4 good heroes. They're all self-sufficient. They all can get solo kills. They're all useful for a bunch of stuff. And because you don't have synergy between them, getting solo kills and stuff like that is harder. Getting 4 versus 5 engagements is harder. So you rely on them all doing well. And so if one of them falls off, then as you saw, it just stopped completely. And of course, like you mentioned, the supports not being able to bring you back means the offlane needs to do more, right? Because the supports couldn't get solo ganks, but that was also stopped by Dawnbreaker. So yeah, I drafted Ramses. I thought the Ramses could solo carry this. Honestly, in the beginning, I thought he had a pretty good draft, but I feel like the lane should have gone much better for them for that to occur.
Yeah, I mean, there was that one really early kill onto the Viper down bottom, right? Like a level 1 kill onto Viper, which ended up really hurting that lane. And then, like, Clockwork was, like, cutting waves after that. And even then, Clockwork stopped looking for a hookshot kill. Like, it was real bad. I think a damn good draft here for Navi, certainly in game number 1. And they execute extremely well on it. And it's a clean and, frankly, easy-looking game for them here.
Yeah, very different to the Navi we saw against Spirit, which seemed a little bit more flustered. This Navi is the Navi that we've grown to love. This early game brawling Navi that honestly exemplifies the essence of Eastern European Dota, which is beautiful team fights, like a ballet. But as we take game number 1, we're going to take a small break and then come back with game number 2. But before we do that, though, we will have a wonderful panel for you guys to break down this game. So stay tuned for 3 more minutes, and we'll come back with these great panelists to break down Navi versus Outsiders game number 1.